we both have like scruffy beard, like we just like our eyes are really squinted.
Yeah. So we're a little late tonight. I had some personal adulting stuff, so we're just going to go ahead and record this for you to all to enjoy at a later time. So we're back. Again, we've been caught up with some adulting stuff. Cody and I have a lot to talk about tonight. Cody's going to be doing most of the talking. I've been a little bit out of the loop for a while, some personal stuff. So Cody, if you want to go over, we have Avengers Campus, Loki episode 1, some Spider-Man No Way Home rumors, some product releases, some Star Wars rumors. So take it away, Cody.
I'm gonna warn you right now, this might be a spoiler filled. So if you haven't seen Loki or you haven't heard of the latest rumors, this is your warning, okay? This is your warning right now. I'm going all in. This episode will contain potential spoilers, okay? Spoilers for Loki and potential spoilers for No Way Home. So please watch this at a later date if you haven't seen Loki or you haven't read about the news that's been going on with No Way Home. Before we get into that, let's go into some product releases. First off, Black Series. Oh man, Black Series, they are getting good. So HasLab just announced number
They're
one.
Like pumping them out, I think.
They are. Yeah. They are giving both Hasbro as a whole with Marvel Legends, with Star Wars. They're really like giving us a good pipeline of stuff. So HasLab, first of all, revealed the pipeline and what they have in the works that will hopefully be coming out towards the end of the summer, maybe early fall.
And there's also a picture of Jon Favreau. I don't know if it was HasLab that posted it, but Jon Favreau was like holding like the HasLab Razor crest.
Was he?
Yeah, they posted it on their social media. I believe it was HasLab's official account that posted it.
I didn't see
Hasbro Pulse, I should say.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I'm gonna look that up after this because I do need to see that. But I mean, as far as product releases goes, pipeline, HasLab revealed their pipeline. We have Fennec Black Series in the works. Mm-hmm. We have a Cobb Vanth. We have a Bib Fortuna. We have a Nomad Boba.
I wonder if that means Cobb Vanth is going to come back.
I don't think so. I think what that means is he's just like everybody wants a Boba Fett figure of some sort. And now that we have like basically 2 or 3 different versions of him, mm-hmm. people are gonna go crazy. So we have all of those in the works.
And in Lego form now. I don't know if you heard that was announced.
I did actually.
That was something I forgot. Moff Gideon's cruiser and ship. There was like the duel between Ahsoka and Darth Maul in Lego form, but the Moff Gideon ship comes with Fennec, Mandalorian, of course. I would say Mandalorian means Din Djarin. Moff Gideon, who this is his first official figure. We also get, I don't know if I said Fennec, but we get Fennec. Notably absent from the set though is Luke Skywalker. So the custom one I made is still the only Mandalorian Luke Skywalker out there, and then interestingly enough, they also have Cara Dune in the set.
Really?
Yeah, and so because a bunch of people had bought her figure thinking it was going to go up in price, and it did, but they just confirmed that she will be in the set. So Cara Dune is in the set. If you want Bo-Katan, good news is they have the first ever Lego Bo-Katan figure.
I saw Katie Sackhoff's Instagram. I was going to say, I saw her post a picture of it. It looks great.
Yeah, so they're officially releasing it. But, of course, marketing, it's part of a separate set, so you got to buy them both if you want those figures or buy the figures online separately, secondhand.
I need to pull up this list. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody here. Hold on. Let's look. These are like all of my inside sources that some of you guys might follow. Let's see who else they have in the pipeline. That might be it, guys. As far as pipeline goes, I feel like I'm at work talking about pipeline because that's a sales term we use all the time. But as far as official reveals, so that's what they have in the works. I'm sorry, I apologize if I left anything out, but those are the big ones anyway. They did announce not only are they doing repaints and basically re-release of the Rogue One Black Series wave, but they also are adding to it. They are adding Antok Merrick, which I think he's just a pilot in the movie. They're adding a Galen Erso, which actually looks really good.
Let me see. I haven't seen.
Yeah, they're really like stepping up their game.
Yeah, you can make a. I was just looking because you could turn him into Hannibal if you really wanted to, but
that is true. You also are going to get a Bodhi Rook, and then Vintage Collection announced their Bo-Katan version, which is going to be great. The Archive Wave, just announced a whole slate of figures. It's like supposed to be, I think towards fall of this year, we're going to be getting an Archive Lucasfilm 50th anniversary Leia from The New Hope.
Kind of weird because it's not going to be 50-year anniversary of A New Hope until 2027, so that's a little weird.
I think it's a Lucasfilm.
Oh, it's a Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
Okay. They're just milking it because then you'll have a few-year gap, and then they're going to say 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and then, yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to be getting her, and that one is a desperately needed repaint and re-release because the face sculpt on the first one is so yucky, like, to keep it PG. You're going to also get in that wave an Episode 3 Obi-Wan, which looks really cool. It definitely looks better than the first version. A 501st Stormtrooper, or not Stormtrooper, Clone Trooper. And then this is the big one, guys. We're getting a Darth Revan, if you guys can see this. So this is, yeah, right. I don't know, it's going to be kind of hard, but this is the re-release. Obviously, we got this originally, but it's going to be in the Archive wave. Every one of these Archive figures have a repaint, and just given the fact that these are going for 60, 70 plus, new in package, like, it's going to be a huge hit. So you'll have all of that to look forward to for Star Wars. Really, really cool stuff. Little bit of personal product information I picked up. I decided that I was not going to completely overpay for a Hot Toys Palpatine because it is astronomical, the prices. People are at, like, in these buy-sell trade groups that I'm going, and you know, I buy most of my Hot Toys or Sideshow from, they are literally like, I'll put a post up there saying in search of a Hot Toys Palpatine. They'll message me, be like, oh, I got one. I got the deluxe version with the throne. Awesome. How much? $5.50 shipped. Like, they're giving me a deal. That's not a deal, people, even for a Hot Toy. That's no.
Robbery.
That's robbery.
Yeah.
You want to know how much it sold the deluxe at retail? 300 something, which is still a lot, but like compared to $5.50. Yeah, and it's brand new. Now, granted, so obviously it's been a while since he's been in stock, but see, the collecting community, guys, let me let you into another little secret. We help each other, all right? We don't overcharge everything. We help each other. I'm all for maybe charging extra $40, $50, maybe even a little bit more than that. That's fine.
What happens is someone buys
$300? You kidding?
What happens is someone buys it at that $40 markup, and then they mark it up $40, and that goes around and around and around when the product's trading hands until, you know, the market's dry. So yeah, it sucks. I remember. I think my Han Solo, I have the Episode 7 Han Solo, is like worth like $400 now or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
that's kind of a lot more than he got. Was $230 maybe retail?
Yeah,
$215, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, you just have to get them when they come out. If you even remotely have the slightest bit of interest, they will sell out eventually. So I always recommend that you jump on it at retail, because if you have to buy it at second market, then you're gonna be screwed. But anyways, I cut my losses. I said there's no way I'm paying that much for a figure like that. So I ended up caving. I did get the Sideshow Palpatine, which is an older release, but I love that figure and it looks great. I am so happy. I paid literally a fraction of that price for it. So I'm happy about that. I've added, definitely since we've last been on that, I have added a Death Trooper, which was awesome. Grievous too. Yeah, and I got him. So people were charging $700. He's another one before. Wasn't going to do that. It's now, since Sideshow's put him up again for pre-order, He'll be coming out, I believe, next month. Everybody's prices all of a sudden went from 700 to like 280 shipped. So I was like, all right, perfect. So I added Grievous. I added the child, the child. I don't.
Ahsoka too.
The custom Ahsoka. Yep, I added a custom Ahsoka. So there's been some good stuff. Follow my Instagram page if you don't right now.
Yeah, you'll see all those photos, and you'll be drooling over.
Yep, at Cody's Collectibles. No spaces, no dots, nothing. Okay, no periods, no underscores. And then the last one I added was New Hope Han Solo, which I got for a steal because I bought them loose. Guys, if you want, listen, the key, if you ever want to get into Hot Toys collecting, the key is that offer to buy loose and incomplete, all right? Just make sure that the person who's selling it to you packages it well. And then any extra parts you get, if you buy a new hot toy, sell the extra parts you know you won't display it with. You can make a lot of money. If I get like an extra head sculpt, I'll sell it for $60+. That's the key. That's the key if you want to still keep it kind of price effective and still like be able to collect them. But
it's either have the complete set,
okay, like that kind of is a little contradictory to what I said earlier, but still make sure that you love it enough to purchase it, because if you're gonna sell pieces of it, you'll make some more money back up front, but just if you go to resell the figure as a whole, you're not gonna make as much back as you want to. So basically any news I had for my personal collection, any products that we got.
So Avengers Campus, one quick weird thing, because I'm an engineer and that's how we think. There's like been a clip going around of like, okay, you know how they have like their actors dressed as like the superheroes. Like a dude dressed as Spider-Man, he's doing like backflips or whatever.
He sounds like Tom Holland.
And it's like okay, it's cool. I mean, any gymnast can really do that. But then there's like this one clip of like Spider-Man like flinging
when he
from like
flings in the building,
like from building like on a rope or whatever to like the other building. So if you actually like do research on it, it's like a robot.
It's not real people.
Yeah, it's like a robot in a Spider-Man costume that they have that like its sole purpose is just to jump between the two buildings. So
it's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, so it's definitely pretty cool. You know, it's cool to see like the pictures in the video, like what it actually like looks like underneath. But they had to train it to walk and jump and all that. So
yeah, it looks amazing. And I think I said this before on one of the other episodes, but I am close to booking my trip to California. It's looking like that might happen probably in October.
And they finally let you in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they finally
they are opening up Disneyland in the state together. After June 15th, they're going to open back up to guests out of the state. I'm fully vaccinated, so it doesn't matter. And I'm like super excited once I get my ticket booked. And then now they're letting us buy for tickets to the park in October. I think my friend and I are going to go. And we're going to have a great time. I'm going to be able to see Avengers Campus up close because you guys know how big of a Marvel fan I am. And I'm like really excited. And honestly, the food alone looks amazing. The food alone, I love, you know what I can't wait to try, because I'm a huge churro guy. I cannot wait to try those little Infinity Stone themed like wrapped churros that are each of the Infinity Stone colors in front of, and I think it's like, they have that, and then they have the shawarma stand, which I can't wait to try.
That's just funny.
It's hysterical.
Just one shot from the credits scene of Avengers, and they're like, you know what, throw it in there.
It's pretty creative, I have to say, though. Like, the fact that they even thought about that was awesome. And it's unique, too, because, like, when have you ever experienced something like that?
I mean, to be fair, now they need, like, a taco stand. That's the only thing that they're missing.
Right,
I mean, they even had
Endgame.
tacos, yeah, but... I mean, I'll be honest, they probably are sitting there like, what food do we offer? It's not like the countries in Epcot where it's like, okay, obvious. They're probably like going back through the movie frames, like, what food did they eat? And they're like, shawarma. And then
they're like, there we go. There's our idea for an extra food that we can sell. But they also, the drinks at the Pim Kitchen looks great. And those giant pretzels that are literally can feed like 3 people. I don't know if you've seen those too. They look amazing. So I'm really excited. I mean, assuming that I can make everything official, tickets are dirt cheap right now for flights. So If you guys want to plan your own trip, I highly recommend starting to do so now, because I can literally get a flight to California round trip, no stops involved, for $170, which is really good.
Yeah.
And that's even considered high right now. But I was like, that's a no-brainer. So I'm hoping to
The
be able
sooner
to go
you,
soon.
the further out you book, the prices of plane tickets are generally like a hump. You know, when you book super far out, they'll be dirt cheap because there will be no events and stuff going on. But then when time gets moderately close, they skyrocket. And then if you're really risky and you wait till like the day before or something, and there's a bunch of empty seats on the flight, then they drop the prices because, you know, they are trying to, you know, fill those seats and get that money. So just a little bit of strategizing there. And it's the same thing with hotels too. That's just how it works, supply and demand.
Did you see any of the video of the point of view perspective of being on the web slingers ride?
I did not.
It looks good. I didn't watch the whole thing just because I don't want to get it spoiled. I mean, right now that's the only ride at the park, or I should say in the land. But it looks amazing from the snippets I saw. And you can actually buy at the gift shops like these cool goggles or like different things you can put on your wrists that actually give you like an advantage for the actual ride. Like it's literally like a video game, which is pretty cool.
To play.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a brilliant tactic by Disney to be like, hey, if you give us more money, because you're not already spending an arm and a leg, you can buy these like web shooters and use them on the ride to get extra points just for bragging rights. So
is it like a Buzz Lightyear type shooting thing, or
no? It doesn't. You don't have anything on your wrist unless you buy that piece, which will give you extra. You're literally just doing this with your wrist, which is incredible. I mean, it's another engineering thing and like just like AI thing that's absolutely incredible, that you're literally just able to fling your wrist and
probably
it's going to
machine
register.
Learning and image processing.
Yeah.
So,
and I think you have like 4 to 6 people per cart. So
that's crazy.
I mean, think about like all the moving pieces and like all these people moving their hands. I think it looks really cool. So
so speaking of Spider-Man, I think transitioning into
well, all right. This is
I heard some stuff, but I did not hear everything.
I read a very in-depth article last night. Right, and again, this is my last time I'm saying it. If you don't want to hear spoilers, potential spoilers, because nothing's confirmed yet, I recommend that you probably at least skip this part of the video. All right. So here we go. Are you okay with this? I haven't even talked to Christian about this.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I haven't seen Loki. I've been off the grid, but I'm perfectly fine.
So somebody at Sony, because we know that Sony and Disney both share
their Spider-Man,
their joint custody, right? So somebody at Sony who was an intern, they got the inside scoop on basically the whole entire script for No Way Home. I mean, it's your typical leaker. It's your typical leaker. I mean, but this was Yahoo News actually reported on this, and this is why I'm actually starting to be a bit of a believer, because I've heard a bunch of different rumors. But basically, guys, what we're gonna get, and again, last chance. It sounds like we're going to get. They first talk about the trailer, which is going to start off with Peter apparently like on the run from the FBI, because we know what happened last time. It's going to pick up exactly where Far From Home left off. And, you know, the apartment that he lives in with his aunt gets stormed. He goes into trial. Here we go. Ready? It's happening. Multiverse, Spider-Verse is happening. Supposedly, Doctor Strange comes to Peter, tells him that the timelines are all like out of whack. And what do you know? We go to the 3 different alternate Spider-Verses we know of that we've seen in live action from the time we've grown up. So we have Doc Ock. So what's his name's Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Yep.
Alfred
Molina, I think. Yeah,
right.
That's his name, yeah.
Which is not so much a spoiler because we know he's already in the casting.
He was like the first one to like, open his mouth and say, "I'm in it."
The first scene though that they show Doctor Strange like showing Peter into this multiverse dimensions, the villains are going to try to escape, and Doctor Strange is going to help them fight off. And guess who else comes out of that portal? Well, one of the portals, it's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And long story short, he's going to be with Tom Holland through most of the movie as they have to hunt down all the villains that have escaped. That includes Norman Osborn, which is William Dafoe's Norman Osborn from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Apparently, he's rumored to be the main villain of this.
I believe it. He's the OG.
Yeah.
Like, you could, yeah.
We are also supposedly going to get the Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man from the first one. We're going to get Electro, which we know that because Jamie Foxx is going to be reprising his role. I'm trying to think if I left anybody else out.
Tobey Maguire, did you hear?
We're going to be getting ready for this one. Here we go. Amazing Spider-Man 2. And this is actually supposedly the scene where Andrew Garfield pops out of his dimension into Tom Holland's, like the MCU verse. The Rhino at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, Paul Giamatti's Rhino, when they showed that before they ended the movie, apparently he's going to be in it too.
Okay.
Which
did you hear anything about Tobey Maguire?
Yep. So they have all these intense battles with the villains. Apparently the big thing with the movie is that William Dafoe, when he comes into the MCU verse, he purchases Stark Industries and he purchases the Stark Tower and makes it Oscorp. And they still have, I think, the arc reactor in that building. And so one of the biggest premises is they're trying to get a hold of the arc reactor, especially Electro. And then there's like a scene where they get their asses beat. And they end up seeing this note or something that leads them to the other Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. They knock on this door, and apparently Kristen Dunst's Mary Jane opens it. Mm-hmm. They come in, they sit down, and then you see Tobey Maguire.
Please,
who the heck they are. Yeah. So I
also heard that they were supposed to have a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read that, but I heard that they were supposed to have a daughter, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I read that like a few hours ago that there was like a young elementary school age actress that was supposedly cast and supposedly was supposed to be the daughter of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Wow, that would be amazing. I think too. The other thing.
And what? That's the end of the movie?
Yeah, right. I don't think so. They were listing off only the first two acts. So I think that would lead to about the middle of the movie, if not closer to the end. But here's the big one, and this was a different article I read this from, and this one really shocked me. For some reason, I hate spoilers, or reading stuff like that. But for this movie, I don't know. For some reason, I'm okay with it. So if this proves to be true, this is going to be huge. But apparently one of the big shockers of the film is that during the end battle scene, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man gets killed.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yep. And then the other person that's supposed to die, which is going to be like a big ball drop, is going to be Ned, which is Tom Holland's Spider-Man's best friend. Mm-hmm. And there's supposed to be like this really cool battle that takes place, I think either like in New York City or on the top of the Statue of Liberty. Mm-hmm. But I know this is like really sporadic and scattered because I'm trying to remember every bit and piece that I kind of like took in when I was reading it all.
Watch this all be fake.
It could be, right? I mean, we're still 6 months away from the actual release of the movie. We haven't even gotten a trailer yet, so this could be complete nonsense. But I just think the fact that a lot of these leaks are matching up with different sources, some of which are very credible. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to believe that there's at least elements of this that are going to happen. Mm-hmm. I am going to.
It's not the first time I've heard Tobey Maguire Spider-Man supposed to get killed. I've heard that repeatedly.
Yeah, and this was the first time I had heard it too, and I was just like, that would crush my child.
That's probably why intentional. I mean, nothing against Andrew Garfield. I think he was good at playing Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but if they were going to kill one of them and they wanted to have maximum emotional damage, they're going to pick Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, out of all three Spider-Mans that we've seen, I love Tobey Maguire's the best. I think that's true with a lot of people that have grown up. Tom Holland is all right. He's grown on me as I've gotten to watch his character. Andrew Garfield is probably the least my least favorite, but I still did think he did a good job. I mean,
I'll say the only thing that I'll be a little about if they do kill Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is if he does have a daughter, it's just gonna feel like repeat of Tony Stark, and I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
they just ripped the same exact plot element and then reused it. He has a family and he gets killed, and versus Andrew Garfield doesn't have a family. So
you know what would be awesome? A cameo of Eddie Brock in this, because supposedly because they're going to be introducing like these different dimensions, this is going to open the door for Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, to basically go back and forth between the Venomverse, which is like I think fully Sony's, and the MCU, which is fully Disney's. So I just think it's really cool. I'm so glad at the end of the day they were able to work out a deal so that they could share joint custody and allow this to happen. I still think that Sony should just give it up and give it to Marvel as a whole.
I did hear that there might be a Miles Morales cameo.
I heard that too. Yeah. So we could get even more Spider-Man that we haven't even met yet.
Spider-Pig.
Which I think we know with everything going on, just to be equal, I think like that's very possible to see like a Miles Morales. We know he's like Black Spider-Man, which I loved his character too, by the way. I think that would be really cool if he showed up to fight with them in the Sinister Six, and maybe they'll do like a spin-off movie.
From what I heard, it wasn't going to be that he was a main character. I heard that he was going to be just kind of like they were going to say his name, or like you're going to see him, but he was going to be. I heard he was going to be like not like a toddler, but like a little kid or something like that. Like
it could be,
which would make. I mean, depending on which, I guess, part of the multiverse he'd be from. He might.
I think Sony would do his film if they did like a standalone live action for Miles Morales. Sony will probably do the film. But Disney, ironically, will still have the rights to sell the merchandise for it. So
yeah.
But I mean, long story short, I think this would just be a fantastic film if this is how it goes down. Spider-Man has always been next to. I mean, before the MCU started, I was all Spider-Man. Like when I thought of Marvel, it was Spider-Man for me.
Same.
I mean, I wasn't even a Captain America fan until Chris Evans started playing the part in the MCU. Then I loved Cap, and he took over as my favorite. But until then, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, but before then, like Spider-Man was just my favorite growing up and everything. Like I remember dressing up as him when I was like 7, and
I'm pretty sure like most people did dressed up like Spider-Man at some point, or yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is always my favorite as well, like out of the Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah.
I love that. So the fact that we're getting Alfred Molina back to reprise his role is going to be great because he did such a good job.
Nearly 2 decades later.
I still can watch those movies with the same excitement because I just think they were so well done.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing too, we will be getting J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
With what's his name? The guy that usually
J.K.
does
Simmons.
it. Yeah, J.K. Simmons. So he'll be doing. We'll see. I think different versions of him in each Spider-Verse.
They'll probably do that.
Which would be awesome. I mean, I think that's so great. What I love is how this has all come full circle. It kind of went from, if this is true and we are getting this multiverse, which I gotta feel like at this point they're gonna do. I gotta be honest. Like it's cool seeing it all come full circle where they went from, how are we going to reboot Spider-Man for a 3rd time to, oh, wait, this will no longer be a reboot. What it's going to be is we're actually going to tie them all together and bring them all back together over the years, which that opens up a whole new can of worms. Like the previous Fantastic Four movies that were kind of below, like the X-Men trilogy with Hugh Jackman. Like we could all now look at it as one umbrella under the MCU, but they were in different multiverses.
And we're getting multiverse with DC Universe next year.
Yeah.
And I don't know because apparently like there's still a bunch of stuff going on with what movies are getting put on hold and which movies are actually going forward with the DCEU. So that's a whole mess. The one that is confirmed is The Flash. Whether or not it's in the Snyderverse, I don't know. It's using the same cast actors, but the director shared on Instagram a picture of the Michael Keaton 1980s Batman logo, because we're confirmed supposed to get at least both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton Batman in the Flash movie next year, and supposedly they were also trying to get Christian Bale's Batman in that movie as well. So there you would get, it would basically be okay, there's a trifecta, and
Yeah.
you know, it's awfully strange that, like, if that does happen, because the Flash script has already been done. It's been done for a few years now, and it's the same thing as Batman versus Superman and Captain America: Civil War. Like, they had to be in development in parallel at the same time, and then they got released when they almost seem like they copy elements of each other. And like, now this is going to happen again, especially if they do bring in a third Batman. Then you're going to end up with another trifecta, and it's just a little very coincidental. I almost wonder if there's like someone that goes and says, "Hey, this is what the other ones are doing," or something. Because like,
Totally.
the fact, you know, if one came out like 5 years later, or a few years later, whatever, but we're talking like 6 months that these things are coming out apart, which you're not going to wait for the other one to get released and then suddenly make a movie in 6 months and copy it. No, they had to be going at the same time, that's the whole suspect thing that I've seen with some movies before, and I'll leave it at that. It's a little weird.
It is weird. I think, yeah, there's a good chance that it's going to happen, though. I honestly, unfortunately, just like DC just doesn't understand what they're doing right now, and unfortunately, it's because Warner Brothers has screwed that up.
Mm-hmm.
You have directors that are ready to make good films, that are ready to creatively coalesce and make it flow like Marvel, but they don't know. It's the sense of ignorance that I have yet to see when fans are literally clamoring for something and they just are denying it.
Yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam film. So I don't know if you know anything about Black Adam, but he's the opposite of Shazam. And Superman's weakness is magic.
Like his alter ego, basically.
Superman's weakness is magic. So Black Adam is supposed to give Superman the run for his money. Well, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had said for years that he wanted to face off against Henry Cavill's
Superman.
Yep. And now this Black Adam movie's coming out, and then there's a whole thing because Aquaman 2 is coming out, and it's almost like, is there a split timeline? Because there's stuff that uses the same actors that's not in the Snyderverse, and there's stuff that uses the same actors in the Snyderverse, and it's like, well, which one's supposed to be the official canon? If you ask me, it's the Snyder cut Justice League that is the canon one, and not the terrible CGI one from 2017. But that's a whole nother topic. But point is, it's weird that sometimes there's parallel elements in these movies of technically business competitors that come out at the same time, and it's like, okay, y'all had to have some way into seeing what the other was doing.
Well, all this multiverse talk leads me into Loki, which I know you haven't watched this episode, and really there's not too many like
Peggy
big spoilers. So that might just be, I mean, I have a feeling that was like an Easter egg just planted there, or it could lead to something bigger. We'll have to see.
I was gonna say I didn't watch it, but I do know that. I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like other than that tiny little scene that if you happen to notice, that happens. But
was that actually the actress, or did they CGI her?
They probably CGI'd her. I mean, they didn't show any close up or anything. It was you could probably just use a random person with the same haircut and dress. But as far as spoilers go for Loki, I mean, we got exactly what we thought we would from the first episode, at least. Really, no like big breaking news spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to hear it, then again, just skip through this portion. But if you're okay hearing it or you've seen it, then great. Basically, it picks up the first episode, the very beginning, picks up right where
he stole the Tesseract.
He stole the Tesseract in Endgame, and then he lands in the desert, which was kind of a callback to the first Iron Man at the very beginning. Yeah. And the time variance, the TVA, Time Variance Association, I believe is what they're called, comes and arrests Loki for treason and crime against the specified timeline. And so, of course, they do like a lot
there's like an organization for that exists. It's like, okay.
Well, and it was pretty funny because, and they know that it seems like kind of, but they kind of almost played off of the ridiculousness of that. Mm-hmm. And what's insane though is the can of worms they open up with this, because here you're thinking the Infinity Stones are the most powerful. I mean, we've bought into that for the past 10 years, that they're the most powerful, like, things that if one person were to get their hold on all 6, they would basically be invincible and they could determine life as we know it, which is what we saw with Thanos. There's a scene in this that, and they do a great job, which I'll address in a second, of addressing any kind of loopholes or concerns that most fans would have when watching it. But there's a scene, and if you've seen it, you know, where Loki's trying to get a better understanding of what the hell's going on, and he threatens one of the workers at the TVA. He opens up one of their drawers because he's looking for the Tesseract, because he still had the Tesseract from 2012's timeline in his hand, and they took it from him. So he threatens the worker, says for him to give him the Tesseract. He hands it over like it's no problem. And then the drawer's still open. Loki looks down, and all 6 Infinity Stones are in the like this drawer. And he's like, Infinity Stones, like, what are you guys doing with them? They're the most, like, hinting that, like, these are the most powerful things in the whole universe. The guy goes, oh, we just use them as paperweights. Some of the guys like to use them as paperweights. I keep a few extras in my desk. What that was very, like, symbolic of, though, and I don't know if symbolic's the right word, but just very, like, wow, is you spent the past 10 years as a Marvel fan, like me, seeing the Infinity Stone build up, and now they're being used as paperweights in this TVA.
I almost hope that doesn't diminish the impact of Infinity War and
the Infinity Saga as a whole. It could.
Because, like, if they could have just came in, and if this group could have just come in and intervened the entire time, it would have been like, okay, I wasted my time watching Endgame and Infinity War, knowing that this could have just happened from the movie like that.
Well, it made Loki and everything that we've come to know as the MCU. It made, in that moment, made you feel so small and, like, so little in thought, that, like, there's so much more out there. And obviously, and they asked this, like, they literally, there's a whole part where they say, like, well, if you guys are a thing and you're literally, like, your job is to keep the timeline in order, then why the hell have I never heard of you before? And he said, because times happen as it's supposed to. He said, we only intervene when a variant, which is what they call these people that go off their beat in respective timelines, to open up, like, this horrible multiversal war, which they refer to, is basically like, you know, I totally lost my train of thought. It's very complicated.
It goes back to the debate that people had with Endgame, because they're like, oh, if you go back in time, it creates another timeline branch, right?
Right.
But then Captain America just says at the end, oh, I'm going to go back and retrieve the stones. It's like, well, doesn't he cause something else by doing that?
Well, you would think. They addressed that. So they asked, so Loki, he asked when he's being put on trial, he goes, so if that's the case and the Avengers went back in time, why didn't you guys arrest him? They said, because that was supposed to happen in the respective timeline.
And it's weird that that's now coming out, because people came up with a bunch of, like, arguments that didn't make any sense back then. And I always said, it's not going to create a new timeline if something was always meant to happen.
Right.
So
there are multiple times. They refer to these 3, like, godlike beings as the keepers of time, which are literally, like, universal gods that, like if you think of religion in actual life, like you believe in a god, or you believe in gods that oversee you, and they might dictate your life and the flow of your reality. Maybe there's predestination, whatever your faith is. They play off of that in this, and this is the future of the MCU, guys. Like, and they talk about how the fact that even though there's multiple timelines, their job is to keep all those timelines condensed in a way to where they all flow according as planned. And in these variants, like Loki, these things happen and they're not supposed to. And what happens is when you have multiple variants and you don't have, like, this organization being able to keep them in check and bring them back to their timelines, it creates chaos in the multiverse, and it ends up creating this war. And they refer to the war from like before the dawn of time, that this multiversal war was cause chaos within every timeline.
Is Thanos only in like? Well, no, we know because we saw. Well, it went back. I was gonna say, do you know if Thanos is technically multiversal? Because is it different Thanoses? Because I think that's one thing that Marvel based Thanos off Darkseid, obviously, but I think that's one trait they didn't copy over is in DCEU and in DC Comics. There's always been one Darkseid that persists across all of the multiverses and all of the. Yeah. So that would be interesting. Is that a similar case here? Was it just one Thanos persistent throughout the entire thing and he's dead, or are we going to see Thanos again show up? Is he persistent? Is he one throughout all of the multiverses, or is it just like any other character and there's multiple of them?
The other thing about the Avengers going back in time too, guys, is you have to think they're going back in time, but they're on the same timeline. Does that make sense? There's different timelines. Like there's different timelines and different flows of reality, that's the multiverse, right? Mm-hmm. There's these alternate realities, alternate timelines. They just go back in their respective timelines. But that is a great question. It's something I think we'll actually find the answer to, hopefully like sooner rather than later, and something we might even find out in the Eternals. But I mean, I think it poses a great question, and it's like, it just is crazy though, back to like the Infinity Stones, that they just, like, they're just there. And it just completely like, yeah, it's mind blowing.
I'll just say I have one thing. I mean, me not being I watch Marvel, but as you can see, I'm not so much of a fan. I already saw Loki. I watch it when I have time. But I'll just say my number one criticism, mostly Marvel does this. DC, you've been acting up too lately. I hate when they kill off a character and look for an excuse to resurrect them. And it just minimizes the impact of the other movies. I hate that so much. Like Vision, I kept saying they're going to bring back Vision. They brought back a white one.
Which is how it happens in the comics.
Which is how it happens in the comics. But I don't want them to use this multiverse thing. They already used it as an excuse to bring back Loki. I don't want it to be an excuse to bring back Heimdall, Black Widow, and like all the others. At that point, I'll just be like, okay, like
it could happen. I mean, we already know we're gonna get Secret Invasion. We might get Secret Wars.
To me, it's a cheap way out of like actually letting a character's death have impact.
So the broader scheme of this episode and what everybody's gonna take away from watching this is that we're officially like done with the Infinity Saga, and we are moving on to even bigger things. And how this is gonna set up new villains is gonna be crazy.
And
this is where we're gonna get Kang the Conqueror.
You mentioned is basically the official like notice of saying, hey, Infinity War is done, we don't care.
Right.
Infinity Stones are saying this. So I think that was like a point that they make there. I mean, I haven't seen it, but based on what you're describing, it sounds like that's the reason they included that scene. Obviously some humor, but also to put that to rest and say we're starting fresh on chapter 2, chapter 3, whatever.
That's exactly it.
4,
yeah, I mean, we're going into phase 4 through 6 now. I mean, it's over. Like what we knew before is over. So, but this is where we're going to start to get into, like, I think Kang the Conqueror. We're going to get into Mephisto, which, by the way, that was another thing I wanted to address. So they also show like bits and pieces of another variant outside of the Loki from 2012 that got loose, and he's been killing people in different timelines.
And they don't show who it is, or
no? They at the very end of the episode. That's pretty much the biggest spoiler. Is they're trying to recruit the Loki we know to go find this variant with them, and he asks, like, might I ask, like, what is it you're looking for? Like, who is it? And he goes, Owen Wilson's character. He goes, it's you. So clearly it's like an alternate reality Loki that they're after. And they hint, though, like at the very beginning when they first show Owen Wilson's character, you'll be able to see this once you watch it. They ask, like, what he's like in 15 something, like 1586 or something like that, and somebody got killed. he's asking this little girl like who did this, and she looks over at this mural because they're in a church.
Oh, and it's like
it's
the
a
Red
devil.
yeah.
It's the Red Devil, yeah.
But apparently the woman in charge, director, whoever, some lady that is in charge of that said today, a few hours ago, it's not Mephisto.
Okay. Well, which everybody's just for some reason waiting to see that. Like, I think it's a matter of time before we get Mephisto. We're gonna get Doctor Doom.
Andrew Garfield also is like, I'm not in Spider-Man. Like, we've heard this before. I'm not involved in this. I'm not involved in that, and that's. That's why you don't believe him.
I think like Andrew Garfield is just a really good. Listen, if there's anybody that's good at lying, for the most part, it's going to be actors and actresses. So that's their job.
Next to politicians, but
that's true. Very true. Yeah. So, I mean, so like as far as spoilers go, that's really the biggest one is that we find out this other variant that's been killing people and messing the timelines up for everybody is another version of Loki, it sounds like. So we'll see. We'll see how that all works out.
Yeah. It almost, I know we're not going to get him yet, but thinking Red Devil just makes me think of like the Red Hulk, or I'm thinking of like the other possible.
We're going to get Red Hulk.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, maybe, probably not him. I'm trying to go through my head and think of the different Red Marvel antagonists that I know.
Red Skull.
Red Skull.
But we've already gotten him twice.
Yeah. He's still on whatever planet that was as a ghost.
Boromir. Yeah. That still is one of the biggest questions I have is why out of everybody did they decide to make like Red Skull the Stonekeeper basically?
I kind of like that simply because Captain America was my favorite. Like after watching the movie, and I was like, I thought he was a good villain, and so when I saw him, I was like, hey, they put him back in here, but that was pretty much it. But
my friend, before
wasn't even the same actor.
Before we saw Endgame, my friend even like I told him I didn't want to listen to any spoilers, and he was like just to mess with me. But the night before, we literally went to Disney as a big group to like do some shopping, have fun, and then see the movie at that like big theater. Yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, I heard Red Skull kills Thanos or something like." And I was like, "You sure as hell better not be right." But it was just funny. Like we had a good laugh about it afterward, but yeah, I just thought it was so random that like Red Skull shows up.
It's like a floating ghost too. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like how the hell did you get here?
And how did you turn into like?
Well, but now that we bring it up, they might actually mention that because how did Loki get into a different timeline?
Yeah.
Just by like transporting with the Tesseract, you know? Yeah. And you wonder if Thanos. Oh God, this is just crazy. We'll have to save this for a different time, but you wonder if Thanos, like, when he got the Space Stone, like, did he travel to different alternate realities and like alter time?
Yeah, we don't know, but
I
think Thanos is done for the most part. I think he might cameo, but I'm ready to move on. If you're gonna even keep me a casual viewer, moderately interested, I don't want to see the same.
No, yeah, I agree. I think Thanos had his time in the limelight. Like it's time to bring in a new villain. I'm dying to see Doctor Doom, guys.
Oh, there is one more thing for me that I just remembered that for Marvel. Apparently, like I was either on a story or he tweeted it or posted somewhere. Like Ryan Reynolds posted his Deadpool outfit, like in a box or something like that. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like sitting in there, and I forget what the comment said, but people are like, does that mean you're going to be filming something? Because like there was a little bit of a tease there. So
yeah, I mean he'll be coming into the MCU I think by 2023 is what they're saying. I just will be interested to see how he fits into all this timeline. But now that we have the multiverse officially, guys, we know that they could do anything at this point as far as bringing back old Marvel characters, bringing in new ones, bringing in alternate reality versions. Like I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And then lastly, we won't spend a ton of time on this, but we, because this wouldn't be the C2's Cantina without some Star Wars news. And we're finally starting to get some outside of just products. Rumored to be coming back to Star Wars. And she might do it in Mando Season 3. How would that happen? Because apparently there's talks, and I don't know if this is just wishful thinking or just some crazy fan that's thinking of something, that they're going to time jump And again, here we go with the multiverse or these alternate reality timelines. Now Star Wars is talking about doing it.
I don't want that to happen.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's because at this point, by the time that happens, Marvel's gonna have done it. DC's gonna have done it. Like, it's gonna become an overused plot device. Anytime someone gets killed, anytime something happens the way that someone doesn't like it. Oh, what's the solution? Time jump. Please do not. Like,
well, let's think about it though. Outside of the comics though, were they really last to the party when it came to exploring the multiverse? Because look at Rebels. Remember, that's where Ahsoka got pulled out and brought into the timeline.
To the casual mass audience viewer, though. They don't all watch the Clone Wars or Rebels. I would be, as a casual watcher of most of those things, and some of my friends and family are casual watchers, they would probably get sick of it. I know I would get sick of it if, I don't care who did it first, but if by third major, sci-fi franchise I watch is doing the same exact thing, I'd be like, okay, what's the point of me even watching these if they all use the same exact tool to get out of their problem?
And we've talked about this many times about the multiverse concept and if they're going to use that to basically erase the sequel trilogy. But if this proves to be true, that's probably what's going to happen, is they're basically going to take the biggest success they've had in years with Star Wars, with The Mandalorian, and time jumping and basically into a new reality. So that gives us an excuse for an all new story and how we can still keep Rey into it and all that.
And then the Cara Dune thing's up in the air because
about her coming back.
Yeah, because the Rangers of the Republic was supposed to be her, and then when she got canned, then they're like, oh, Hera or whatever her name is, and then that temporarily got shelved, which to me means they're sorting some things out, because if they knew for certain they were going to go with Hera replacing it, then they would have just never shelved it. But now they might not be so sure on what they're doing. So I think they're probably going to wait it out a little bit. They still have Book of Boba Fett. Mandalorian supposedly isn't coming out till late 2022, so they still have some time to, whether or not you support Gina, that's another thing. But point is they still have some time to sort out what that relationship is going to be like. And I think now with them shelving that, that's not as clear cut as it was before. So
yeah, I think so. So lots of good stuff, guys. Lots of nerdy talk. Lots of good stuff happening on the TV set in reality, where you get to go basically live out your superhero journey, as they say, at Avengers Campus. I'm excited to do that when I get around to it. But I think that's gonna do it for tonight. I know we had a lot. This is our first long episode we've done in a while.
Yeah.
And I like it. I mean, it's good. It's good. We miss being able to bring a lot of good news stories like this, and the fact that it just fell into our lap for this week's episode.
Yeah.
It's good. Lots of Marvel. This is becoming a lot bigger of a Marvel platform than we originally intended. But as time goes on, we'll be able to kind of even it out with everything.
Yeah.
And also, last thing. Velocicoaster just opened up today, and apparently it's amazing. It looks amazing.
Okay.
Just watching the point of view videos that people are posting. So if you're a Universal fan and you love Jurassic like I do, you're gonna want to go check it out.
All right, that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.